Yeah, good evening, man. This your boy OG285 with a real life story, man. Sometimes when you go through life, you kind of see stuff from a different perspective or a different point of view after you've experienced certain things. Especially when it's concerning something that might be considered what they would call supernatural. And I had a few supernatural experiences in my life. Uh, some I guess would be if it was on TV, it'd be like unsolved mysteries or some type of program like that, National Geographic. But anyway, say all that to say this, man. I'm a movie freak, and I can't remember the exact year, but I'd probably say 81, 82, somewhere before 1983. Or in between 80 and 83, they had a movie out called The Entity. And the lead actress was a young lady by the name of Barbara Hershey, very beautiful woman. And it was a story of a single mother who had a boy and two girls. And they had a little modest home. And, anyways, some type of being, an unseen being, you know, it entered her home. And when it entered her home, off the mustard, just hit her in the mouth. Pow! Just hit her in the mouth. Throwed her down on the bed, put a pillow over her face, and penetrated her in a sexual manner. She hollering and hollering, and her son, he in another part of the house, he got the music playing. Her two daughters, they in the bed, they come running. And when they get there, of course, they don't see nothing. And she got her son going crazy, check the house, this and that there. So the son being like an older teenager, he probably was about 17 or 18. He, his little sisters, they was going crazy crying because mama was going crazy crying. And it was like a very traumatic situation for the young girls, I'm sure. And he was trying to figure out what was wrong with his mom, and she couldn't really tell him. And she said, call the police. He said, there ain't nobody here. He searched the whole house, right? And so to say all that, to say this, when I first seen the movie, it was like a scary movie, but I come to find out the movie is actually based on a true facts. It's something that happened, and it's never really been explained. The movie is a factual movie. At the end, they doing all type of research on this entity, and it was obsessed with this woman. It actually followed her around, and then, like I say, it always had like some type of intercourse with her. She allowed it to happen after a while because what had happened, she was asleep one night, and the entity came to her in her sleep. And I guess might have been having some type of sexual dream or whatever, but she she wound up getting off, you know. And so it was easier to go along and not getting beat up and slammed all around the house. It broke her son's arm as well throughout the movie. But when I seen the movie, it's kind of hard to believe. It was a good movie, but it was kind of hard to believe. Uh, and years later, it was around 1993, so it's probably about 13 years later. I was in Privilege down in Milledgeville, Georgia, at River CI, and I actually was in the hole. I was in the hole. I got into a fight, and got put in isolation. And the isolation at Rivers is like underground. It's like below the ground. So it's like really cold no matter what time of year it is. It could be like 97 degrees outside. It's still cold in that particular isolation, which was a good thing in summertime because it was like really hot down there in Millersville, you know. And anyways, I was in this isolation cell and I was having a dream. And in my dream, I was with a young lady that I fantasized about from when I high school, one of my high school friends. And but during the dream, if something happened, or I mean, it was like something like what I was dreaming about was really happening, even though I was in the room alone. My I opened up my eyes and I was like, I remember when I was a child, I used to get scared in the room and couldn't move and just lay there, be terrified, can't scream or nothing. My grandmama would always say that's what you call the witch riding you. So I had that experience in my young life as a boy. So it was some things that happened to me that it was hard to explain. But in this particular situation, it was pleasurable. I'm just gonna say it like that. It wasn't nothing. I mean, it was kind of scary because I couldn't move, and it brought me to that place in my childhood where my grandmama would tell me what about the witch riding. Anyways, I looked down and my name. You know what I'm talking about. My manhood standing up through the boxes, and it looked like it was being manipulated in some type of way, man. That was like something like a woman. No, I couldn't see anything. No, well, no, I couldn't see anything. Wasn't nobody in the room with me, and I wasn't touching myself. So what had happened? A guy crossed the hallway from me in another cell. He hollered out, "O'Neal!" So when he hollered out O'Neal, it broke the whole spirit because everything turned loose in me, and I had a shower shoe laying next to my bed. It just shot across the floor like somebody was running up out of the room, even though I'm surrounded by four walls and a steel door. So he said, "What you got going on over there, O'Neal?" And I told him, I said, "Man, you ain't gonna believe this shit, man, but man, I just got my dick sucked by a ghost." Now, the story has a history of that prison, that where I was in that hole particularly was where they used to have the dangerous insane people. That prison actually was a mental hospital, and if you was acting out in a violent manner, that's where they put you at to isolate you. And apparently, in the cell where I was being housed at, a woman had took her own life in that cell. She had hung herself in the cell. Uh, I mean, I don't really know how she could hang herself because wasn't nothing to hang herself on. But I guess she strangled herself with some type of a bed sheet or whatnot. But apparently she died in that cell. And so it was real, So it made me think about this movie I was watching as a young, a teenager. That was like a scary movie, and it was like, wow, this. Look, I kind of believe the movie now because, like I said, they wrote books about it, they did studies about it. They actually brought her to the college where the psychiatrist conducted a study, and it was like the entity tore the building up. It's public record, man. So it's actually a real story, man. It should have been big news, but it was like a movie when the story got told. But people really wasn't trying to, you know, believe that was some type of supernatural type stuff. But it happened. You know, I can go on and on. I had several experiences, but the video long already, man. Anyway, man, telling you a real ghost story, man. It's well, G285. I was down there in Millersville, down there at River CI, bro, 1993. I got my dick sucked by a ghost. That's the true story, the whole truth, and I say I tell the truth and shame the deal, but I promise you that's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So if you don't believe in ghosts, you know you're a little naive. Ain't the Lord all right? Ain't he good? I know that Holy Ghost. More love, more power.